days now, President Trump has been unable or unwilling to condemn white supremacists in a way that would make it clear he does not welcome the support of white supremacists. He danced around this during the debate when he told a far-right group to stand back and stand by.
Give me a
white
name.
supremacists and
white like me to condemn?
White supremacists and right
Proud Boys. Stand back and stand by. But
the president refusing to denounce white supremacy, instead telling a designated hate group to, quote, stand by. The Southern Poverty Law Center lists 38 hate groups in our state of Georgia, with the Proud Boys, which was mentioned last night, being one of them. The all-male, far-right racist group known for its violence, its anti-Semitism, its misogyny, and racist rhetoric.
The day of his inauguration, as promised, President Donald Trump signed an executive order freeing dozens of January 6 protesters. Among them was Proud Boys leader Enrique Tarrio, who was sentenced to 22 years in prison for burning a Black Lives Matter banner outside of a church and charged with seditious conspiracy in connection to January 6th, though he was not at the Capitol that day. Enrique became a white supremacist boogeyman, but strangely enough, Enrique isn't white. The belief that the Proud Boys is a white supremacist organization is settled. It has been repeated ad nauseum for years.
White supremacist militia group.
My message to the Proud Boys and every other white supremacist group is cease and desist.
The Proud Boys, misogynistic, Islamophobic, anti-Semitic, anti-immigrant views.
Are they white nationalists? Yes.
They're a despicable group by pretty much anyone's standards.
Still, the political and media voices who make the claim haven't produced an actual racist quote, statement, policy, belief, or manifesto from the Proud Boys. iResearch is here to challenge assertions that lack support because truth matters.
Definitely not white. I'm African and Cuban descent from both. Actually, some of my ancestors are indigenous to Cuba, and I don't think I have any white at all.
Our investigation found that the Proud Boys of South Florida is a mostly Latino club, also boasting several black members.
On behalf of the entire national organization, denounce white supremacy. We are in no way, shape, or form white supremacists. We have a vetting system that just gets those guys out of our hair. We do not have anything to do with white supremacy. We do not have anything to do with the Ku Klux Klan. We denounce those organizations.
When it has been discovered in the media that some of the group's white members have black wives and biracial children, cognitive dissonance and confirmation bias tends to win the day.
You see this dude right here? This is one of the Proud Boys. You know, all those Neanderthals that attacked the Capitol. Remember that? This is his wife, his black wife, all right? That's his black wife. This dude with his black wife going to the Capitol. So what did he say? Okay, I'm going to do some racist shit. You sit there and you be pretty, God, and I'm coming back to satisfy my fetish.
While Godfrey implies that the January 6th protest at the Capitol, which was also attended by many black conservatives, was racist activity, he fails to explain how. Or maybe Godfrey, who has often criticized the U.S. government for corruption, becomes a guardian of the same government when given the chance to call a white man who he doesn't know racist for attacking it. Could it be that because people want to believe the narrative that Donald Trump's supporters are racist, they accept slanderous accusations without any proof? iResearch sat down with Enrique Tarrio and asked him about these accusations. In this candid interview, Enrique addresses the charges of white nationalism and the effectiveness of government-sponsored propaganda. He also spoke with us about Trump's infamous stand down and stand by quote from the 2020 presidential debate.
They're harping on this white supremacist narrative, which obviously we're not anywhere close to, and I've denounced it a million times. Honestly, I mean, I'm not tired of denouncing it, it gets old. So when somebody calls me a white supremacist, right, I try to fight it from my little tiny Parler account as opposed to an account that has 2.5 million followers or more.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't work. You know, the president could tweet something out and obviously fight his cause or fight the narrative. In our case, if a regular Joe Schmo, undecided voter, sees these articles and sees white supremacists, they're going to jump. You know, they're going to jump and they're going to say, hey, these are white supremacists. And if you Google us, our Wikipedia page is edited by Antifa. Like, this isn't a tinfoil hat thing. You can go in there and you can look at the editors, and all those editors, right next to it, it says, this editor supports Antifa. We have probably like 90% of our membership down here is like Latins or Cubans, mainly Cubans. But we don't quantify people. We don't put people in little boxes. Like, tell me what your thoughts are, what your feelings are, what your morals are. That's how I judge a person. If my mere presence alone makes people want to enact acts of violence against me, then you know what? It's not me that's the problem.
Yeah.
That's what domestic terrorism is. It's violence to push a political cause. Yeah. It's insane. I've received multiple death threats on my Twitter feed. People are saying that they're going to put a bullet through my head, that I'm a fascist, and all that. And the truth is, you could ask them to denounce communism, and they just won't, because they're proud communists, right? But me, I could denounce fascism, I could denounce racism, I could denounce white supremacy, and I am. That's what I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
We're none of those things. We're a pro-America drinking club. It's basically what we are. We didn't want to be this de facto security force. We're kind of just forced into it, you know, because when we show up to events, our guys like aren't going to back down, aren't going to be pushed around, you know. So, do our guys fight back? Yes. Are we going to apologize for it? Absolutely not. We take pride in that.
Yeah.
We take pride in helping people. We take pride in not letting another group push us back. It just doesn't make sense. The president said, and it's a controversial statement, but if I break it down to you, you'll understand why it's not controversial. But the stand back, stand by thing. What the stand back, stand by thing means to me was actually part of the question that Chris Wallace asked. And he said to tell these groups to stand down, like he has any power over any of those groups. It basically meant, like, he was answering the question, obviously. He's like, okay, I'll say it. Stand back, stand down.
Yeah.
And stand back, stand down is kind of like the same thing. I think he got confused on the wordplay there, but regardless, stand back is what we've always done. You know, we stood back in Portland and just watched them burn their own city. And then the more controversial part of that quote is a stand by, because people take it as like a call to arms, really. Like we're standing by at the ready to defend the president. And I'm not going to deny that I would defend the president if the time arises, but that's not what he meant by it. He's like, I think he meant like stand by me, right? And although we're not a political organization, I think I've stood by the president from day one.
So, if the Proud Boys aren't white supremacists, what are they exactly? What began as a drinking club became security against the violence of communist organizations like Antifa during the 2020 riots, in which they burned down cities, leaving destruction and death in their wake. When high-profile conservative pro-life activist Bevelyn Beatty, a black woman, was attacked, beaten, and stabbed by a mob of far-left white men who were Antifa extremists, it was the Proud Boys, and specifically Enrique, who came to her defense and fought to protect her. According to the same voices that told us trans women are women, and that Enrique Tarrio is an anti-immigrant white supremacist, Antifa is not malicious.
Antifa is an idea, not an organization.
Oh, you gotta be
not
kidding.
malicious.
Prominent Proud Boy Tusitala Taini Toese, yet another brown white supremacist, a proud Polynesian who loves America, explained it best.
This anarchy has happened in Portland for too damn long, and now we're out here because we're pissed off and we're not gonna see this country burn, and we're gonna take a stand. That's why we're out here. We're gonna stand up for freedom. We're gonna do it. We're gonna do it peacefully. We're gonna do it peacefully. But if we are forced to defend ourselves, we will defend ourselves. Just to let you guys know, this country was created by the people for the people, and we are the people. We're coming out here to take stand. We have as much much right as them. We're not here to shut them down. They have the right, even though we disagree. But if people learn how to disagree without disrespect, that's how we can fix this country. That right there is not a protest. That right there is not free speech. Violence is not protected under the First Amendment. It is self-defense. The Second Amendment that we will stand on, and the First Amendment, we will protect freedom in America, and we will take a stand always, red, white, and blue all the way.
For years, the far-left elements that hijacked media and government were allowed to get away with saying anything they wanted about their opponents, knowing that accusations of bigotry hurt a reputation more than anything else. Agree with Enrique or not, one thing is certain. The Afro-Cuban leader of the Proud Boys is a rebel, but he's not a racist, and he's not a white supremacist.
An organization that just loves America and just wants not only do we fight for it, not only do we celebrate it, but we're fathers, husbands, brothers